Howdy brewers. Today we're doing a little bit, slightly, it's a kit and kilo brew, but there's a little bit of skill involved. Well, not really skill, but measuring. So I'm using I've never brewed this before, the Thomas Cooper's Amber Ale, and I am going to, because I'm not sure how much hop is in it, I think it's an American Amber Ale, but because I'm not sure how much sort of New World or late edition hops are going to come through in an extract kit. Normally it's really hard to make any sort of late edition hops come through in a kit and kilo brew. So what I'm doing is I have Brew Enhancer 3, again another Cooper's thing, but it's dry malt, dextrose and maltodextrin, and I'm going to boil 25 grams of Galaxy hops for 5 minutes and then let it steep for another 10 before I mix the brew together. The reason why I'm using Galaxy hops is I'm going to see if I can get this recipe to taste somewhat similar to a really nice Australian beer called Fancy Pants, I think it is, and it's a Mountain Goat brewery beer. But anyway, we'll see what we do. We'll see how it goes. So anyway, I'll just bring in some 2.5 litres of water to the boil. Going to dissolve 1 kilo of the Brew Enhancer 3 in there, in the water, and then when it comes to the boil, I'll be adding the hops, and then we'll just mix the rest of the ingredients together as normal for a kit and kilo brew. All right, I'll get into it, and yeah, I'll show you the steps throughout the brew day anyway. Cheers. Okay, there's the dry malt extract added. Just when you're adding it to a pot that's on direct heat, like this one, my portable induction cooker, you just turn it, if you have the ability to control the temperature, turn it right down, so then that way you don't get scalding on the bottom and actually burn some of the malt or the sugars until it's all dissolved. So this will come to the boil, and then I'll add the hops. Just something to be careful of when boiling malt is the boil over, so make sure you keep a watch as it approaches the boil. One thing I thought I would do, I'm going to try, because it's a hoppy beer and an amber ale's got a lot of crystal malt in it, I thought it would be okay to use the kit yeast, and that way those of you who don't have access or don't want to buy the like the different yeasts, strains, and just want to use the kit yeast, I'm going to give it a try and see how it turns out. But to make sure I give this yeast every chance of being good, because you only get 7 grams in a packet, and normally I would like at least 15 for a 20 litre batch. So this is 1 teaspoon of yeast nutrient. Mind you, me using this and you not having access to different types of yeast might have the same effect. You might not have access to yeast nutrient as well. But anyway, I'll go into a little bit more detail about yeast when I add it. So I'm just going to boil that for 5 minutes, and then I'll add the hops and then boil for another 5. There's 5 minutes gone. Add the hops. Be careful of a boil over. Sorry about the steam. There was no boil over. Okay, that's the end of the 5 minutes. Sorry about the lighting. Just going to put the lid on and let that just let some of the steam escape. But yeah, leave that steep for 10 minutes, and that'll bring out a lot of those Galaxy hop oils. Alright, cheers. I've just got the colander there to catch whatever hops might make their way through. Okay, as I was saying with the yeast, I'm just going to use the kit yeast because it's the Cooper's Select, or whatever it's called. The yeasts are hopefully higher quality. I'm tipping they are. I'm tipping for what they charge for a can of that extract compared to their other cans, that they want to give you the highest possible, best possible product. And I'm going to say that the amber ale yeast is probably a US-05 anyway, but it's, as I said, it's only 7 grams. So I'm going to just sprinkle it over the top. Not going to stir it in. I'll just put my temperature probe. I put it against the plastic with some insulation foam taped to it, and that's as close as I can to controlling the temperature inside the thing. At the moment it's saying 22.4 on my thermostat. I am going to ferment at 18, but what I was saying before about the yeast nutrient, you can utilise some of your previous batches brew as yeast nutrient. So yeast nutrient is mainly just dead yeast cells. So if you wanted to scoop a couple of teaspoons, or even a bit more, if you wanted to boil that up as your yeast nutrient in your next brew, and then use the yeast that comes with the kit, that will have a very similar effect, or if not the same effect, with the dry yeast nutrient that I use. And that will hopefully give you a bit better brewing or fermentation efficacy, I guess is the term, to give the yeast the necessary nutrients that they need for health, which are mainly metals anyway, like zinc for example. That's one metal I'm aware of that yeast need. So yeah, this will ferment until it's done, then I'll keg, probably forced carbonate, but you know, I'll give it a taste in a few weeks. If you're wondering what happened to that that bitter kit, the Brewmaker's bitter, yeah, that was as it turns out, I made a rookie error and I did not tighten the outflow keg post, and so when I was forced carbonating, that leaked out all into my keezer. That was a fun cleanup, and I never got to have the beer, so double whammy there. Learnt my lesson again, so that's embarrassing to admit, but just proof it's not all cake or biscuits and gravy with home brewing. So until next time, happy brewing.